Let's go. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but my dad had a really, really tough week last week, and I feel like I had to be there for him, so I went and got him a very sentimental gift.
How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.
Come on. I gotta get props for that, guys. That was the best smack talk I could possibly ever do. You know, I got him that card. Sorry for your loss. Really? Come on. It couldn't have a better caption in the middle. And then the Band-Aids. Because have you seen the team he has right now? Like, everybody's injured. Like, he needs to give Vic that whole pack. And, like, Kenny Britt maybe fix his ACL with it or something. I don't know. It's just, it's bad news. It's not looking good, buddy. Good luck. Now, as you guys remember, last week we had both of those father versus son matchups. One of those matchups was my team, the Shaved Birds, going against my dad's team, the Soup. For my team, I had great weeks from LaShawn McCoy, and Jermichael Finley finally put up big numbers, scoring 3 touchdowns last week. I expect bigger weeks like that from him the rest of the year. For the Soup squad, he just had a tough week, only scoring 73 total fantasy points. It's a long fall from him considering he started off the year as a #1 team, scoring 140 the first week. He had a tough break because he had Kenny Britt, who actually got him negative points with a fumble, and he's gone for the year. He also had a slow day from Michael Vick, who only got him 8 points, and the only one that showed up on his team was Daniel Thomas. Hopefully he can turn it around, but it's not looking too good this week as he goes against Super Stompers, who's really coming on hot. In the other father and son game, we had the Bombers going against the Woodbridge Vikings. That ended up being a pretty good matchup also. The Bombers won with great weeks again from Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson. He also had a pretty good day from Mark Ingram and Michael Bush, who didn't put up big numbers but both got a touchdown. The Bombers team quietly every week puts up good numbers as all of his players get him at least 8 points. That's going to help him in the long run with that consistency. On the flip side, the Woodbridge Vikings are still hurting as they still don't have Arian Foster, and Peyton Manning looks to be done for the year. Dennis's team did show signs of life though, as he had great weeks from LT, and Willis McGahee looks like he's going to get a lot of the touches in Denver. Overall though, Dennis's team has to get healthy, or he has to find other options if he wants to make a run for the playoffs this year. Another matchup I looked at last week was actually the Super Stompers going against Cathcart Killer. The Super Stompers team just lit it up as he had a monster week from Darren McFadden. Actually, his whole team did good as only one guy on his team, which was Vincent Jackson, got him under 10 points, as even his kicker got him 10 points. If Joey keeps putting those numbers up week in and week out, it won't be long before you see his team on the top of the board. On the flip side, David actually had a pretty good week, but Tom Brady really hurt him as he threw 4 interceptions, which really hurt his fantasy total. Also, Rashad Mendenhall just hasn't shown up this year as he had another slow week against Indy.
Second down and 6, going deep for Smith on his first catch. He is gone for a Baltimore touchdown. Second play of the drive, 1st and 10. Again, Rice the decoy. Again, they go deep for Smith. He's got it. Wow. Another touchdown strike. This time, 41 yards. Here they go for Smith. He's got it for his 3rd touchdown today. Unbelievable. First few catches in the National Football League, they're all going for touchdowns. He beats.
Wow, what a game for Torrey Smith. He's actually a rookie, and that was his first start of his career and his first catch in that game. He actually had 3 touchdowns and over 150 receiving yards. He actually, before this game, was only owned in 1% of fantasy leagues. Now, I don't see him putting up these numbers again in the future, as he is behind Anquan Bolden and Lee Evans, and much less Baltimore, for the most part, is a running team. But this was a huge week and definitely put him on the radar. Now, actually, who had a bigger game than Torrey Smith was Wes Welker, who recently was traded in our league from the Shaved Birds, which is my team, to Young Money. Wes Welker had 16 catches, over 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Walker looks like he has no potential of slowing down, and you easily could expect almost 1,500 yards from him on this season the way Brady is targeting him. Looking at quarterbacks, Joe Flacco was actually our top fantasy producer last week. He threw for almost 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. What really surprised me about Flacco's numbers is that he had almost 50 pass attempts for Baltimore, which actually is considered more of a running team, and they went up really early and St. Louis never stood a chance. Second on our list is actually Mark Sanchez, who had a pretty good week for the Jets, even though they lost. The reason Mark Sanchez's numbers were so good, though, was because they were playing catch-up from the start as Darren McFadden ran all over him, and they just couldn't stop him on the defensive side. Alright, beyond Darren McFadden's monster week, Ryan Matthews finally put up some good fantasy numbers with over 100 combined yards and 2 touchdowns. Also, Fred Jackson once again was on top of the fantasy points for running backs, as he also put over 100 combined yards and 1 touchdown. Now before we get into the week 4 matchups, I do have to congratulate Wayne's team, who currently is in first place. Now Wayne's been playing with us for a long time, and actually he's never made the playoffs, and I went back and looked, and he already has 3 wins. That's as many as he had all last year. Well, in my opinion, Wayne's taken this whole success to the head. I think he's had a good run, but there's no need to go out and celebrate and do crazy things, okay, man? Listen, if you keep doing that, you're gonna get hurt. I don't think you got like workman's comp or any kind of insurance, man. You need to chill out with that kind of mess, alright? You and my dad need to go in the back, figure something out with y'all's teams, because y'all are both in trouble. You're just sitting 3-0, he's sitting 1-2. It's just not looking good. Hell, you can call Dennis over too. All you old guys need to figure something out because it's just not going to be good at the end of the season. The first matchup we're going to look at is actually going to be Shots versus Juicers. Now, Shots is coming off a really bad week after having a great week in week 2. His team is really hurting from missing in the presence of Miles Austin, who looks to be out again this week, and Frank Gore's questionable as well. Those are 2 of his top playmakers, and if he's missing both of them, it's going to be tough for him to pull this win out. Now, I do think that Shots is going to have a big game for Maurice Jones-Drew this week, as he showed signs of life last week against Carolina. Now, on the other side of the ball, Juicers comes to the table with 3 very strong running backs in his lineup, and James Starks, Peyton Hillis, and the best player in fantasy football, Adrian Peterson. The question about Juicer's team is actually he won last week scoring under 100 points. I don't think he can do that again this week, because I do think Shots is going to put up at least 100. But overall, I do give the advantage to Juicers. I think he's going to have a good week from Adrian Peterson, and Eli Manning's going to put up good numbers against Arizona. Now our next matchup is going to be actually 2 teams that are 2-1 right now, and Arvin's team and Young Money going against Kevin's team, which is TD Magnet. Young Money's team is looking pretty good. Last week he ended up trading Chris Johnson to get Wes Welker, which worked out for him as Wes Welker had a great day getting over 40 fantasy points. When it comes to running backs, he still has Ryan Matthews, Javid Best, and Beanie Wells, which are all very serviceable. But I think where Young Money's going to get his points this week are going to be from Drew Brees, who's going to put up great numbers against Jacksonville, and he's got Philly's defense going against San Francisco, and I think Philly is going to be the best defense this week and really shut San Francisco down. Now on Kevin's squad, he currently has Mr. Consistency with Fred Jackson of Buffalo, who I think once again will put up a very solid performance. He also has Ray Rice, who always can put up great numbers, and I do think he's due for a big week. Now on quarterback, he has Phillip Rivers, who has been kind of inconsistent as of lately, but I think he'll get on the right track this week against Miami. Now on paper, Young Money has a 2-point advantage, and really I do think his team is better, but something tells me Kevin's going to pull this win out this week. Looking at the teams, I can't say there's any individual player that I think is going to do something major, but I do think something's going to happen this week on one of these teams, making an injury or a really big week. We'll have to watch and see. So you know what, guys? I've been thinking about that sick jump that Wayne hit on a scooter earlier, and it led me to remember that he didn't pay his league fee, so I probably should collect his money before he tries to use it for like a hospital bill or something. So I headed over to his house the other day, and next thing you know, there was like a line out front for some carnival ride or something. Yeah, he was like charging the neighborhood kids to get on this thing called like the Wheel of Death or something. I didn't know what it was all about. Next thing you know, I'm watching this crap happen. I mean, listen, man, you do what you gotta do. Just make sure you get my money, okay? Jeez. Anyway, let's get to the matchup of the week, which is gonna be Wayne's team, which is lickety split, the only undefeated team we have left in the league after only 3 weeks. Kinda crazy. He's going against the Comebacks, which is Chris's team. Wayne's team hasn't put up big numbers this year, but he's done just enough to get to victory, scoring at least 100 points every week. I do think Deshaun Jackson's gonna have a big week this week, and I think Rob Gronkowski once again is going to get at least a touchdown and close to 70 yards. Wayne's going against Chris's team, the Comebacks, who we inherited at the beginning of the season. Chris has done pretty good, as last week he suffered his first loss, but it was a brutal one as he scored just 70 points and got doubled up on as Young Money put a 150 on him. For Chris's squad this week, I really like Baltimore's defense against the Jets. I really don't think Mark Sanchez is going to be able to do anything against Baltimore's stout defense. I think what's going to bring him most of Chris's points, though, are his 3 running backs he's playing this week. And Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, Mike Tolbert, and Michael Turner is going to put up big numbers against Seattle. Now, Wayne has a 10-point advantage on projected points, but I got to go with Chris getting this victory. I just like who his players match up against, and I think they're going to do big things this week. Wayne also has history going against him. Since the start of the year, whichever team has been in first place, the following week they've lost. So go ask my dad, go ask David. You know what? Ask this guy about falling hard. See, that guy knows about falling hard. He must have been in first place before anybody. I mean, he's still falling. Like, he just disappeared. He's gone. Like, shit. Is that him? Damn, that's gotta hurt. Ugh. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for week 4. Make sure you guys vote for who you think is going to win in the matchups in the league. Also, go ahead and like this video on YouTube. Rate, comment, subscribe, do whatever. Got any input, let me know. Also, the league fees are due this week. If you guys can please get with me and let me know what's going on. I hate calling you guys and hounding y'all guys like I'm a tax collector or something. Let me know what's going on. Get with me. We'll work something out. See you guys next week. Peace.